For those of us who don't know Dr. Amjad Qourshah, Dr. Amjad Qourshah is an associate professor in comparative religions and Christian-Muslim relations. Can we get everyone to sit down, and we're about to start? Sisters in the back. Sisters in the back. Sisters in the back. Can you guys hear me? Would everyone be able to sit down? Dr. Amjad also is a former lecturer at the Faculty of Sharia in Jordan University from 2003 to 2018. From 2019 until present, he is a resident scholar, a lecturer, a trainer, and a family spiritual issue consultant at AL-NAE Foundation in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. He obtained his master's degree in Quranic interpretation from Jordan University in 1997, and his PhD in comparative religions and Christian-Muslim relations from Birmingham University in UK in 2003. I just have a couple of announcements to make. Please, sisters or brothers, with anyone who have, if you have kids, the room upstairs, it's connected to the mic, so you'll be able to hear us, but we don't want distractions to be in the main room. So if your kids are going to be a distraction to everyone else, we're going to ask you mid-lecture to please go upstairs and listen to the lecture from the third floor, so we don't ruin it for everyone. That's number one. Number two, I would like to welcome Brother Mujahid from Islamic Relief to say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Amjad. I'm the lead for Metro Vancouver with Islamic Relief Canada. Just want to thank you all for coming out, and I hope you guys are doing well. Louder? Okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amjad. I'm the lead for Metro Vancouver with Islamic Relief Canada. Just want to thank you guys for coming out and taking time out of the day to come and join Dr. Amjad. I want to thank him also for coming out, others from Ontario, taking time out of the busy schedule. At the same time, I want to thank Mac for allowing us to host this event. At the same time, I just want to thank you for your continued support, and hopefully, the month of Ramadan is coming, and hope you have your blessing and support to support the people in the world and support them in different things that they're going on. Thank you.
The lecture, inshallah, will be 45 minutes long, and then we're going to have 15 minutes for questions and answers, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to him and peace and blessings be upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us in a great hadith, "Man la yashkuru an-nas la yashkuru Allah." The one who does not thank the people, he's actually practically not thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I have to say, Jazakumullahu khair. Thank you very much for Islamic Relief. Thank you very much for MAC, Jazakumullah khairan, and thank you for Dar Foundation, Jazakumullah khair, for enabling me to sit with such, mashallah, beautiful faces, inshallah, full of iman. This is blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi, Jazakumullah khairan, alhamdulillah. Tayyib, brother and sister, before I start, I have to repeat something. Sisters, please, you are all like my dear sisters. Kids, if you notice, so that not to be distracted and interrupted. If any kid is jumping, making anything, please, one of you just take him or her to the other place, because I'm seeing you, you are just seeing me. If someone is jumping, I can't focus. So please help me in that, because I'm a very visual person. You can't imagine how visual I am. If I'm speaking here and someone is jumping there, I can't control. I will lose my concentration. So please, if you saw anyone doing, just take a decision so that not to be interrupted again. Jazakumullah khair, barakallah fikum. Thank you very much. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be from those whom are part of the following hadith. مجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله إلا يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسونه إلا وغشيتهم الرحمة وحفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله في من عنده. Prophet Muhammad promised us that any group of believers, they gathered in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, study the knowledge of Allah, the Quran, for the sake of Allah. He said, but, it's like a promise. مَجْتَمَعَ إِلَّا. But they will be surrounded by the angels. And they will be covered by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Covered by the mercy of Allah, it means, forgiveness. It means high status. It means deleting, cleansing our bad records. Alhamdulillah, قال وَذَكَرَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَنْ عِنْدَهُ. And Allah will mention them. Now, mention them, some people might say, okay, what does this mean for me? If you know that a very famous celebrity just mentioned your name in his private talks, you can't sleep at that night. That's celebrity. I'm not saying the most, for example, rich person on earth. A celebrity. If he just mentioned you in a small, just a tweet he wrote, he said, MashaAllah, X person is a great person. Wallahi, the dopamine that you will have, this you can't sleep at that night. What if Allah is mentioning you in your name? Anyway, this is not my point. Now, our topic is empowering faith in our youth. So my topic, I'm an academic person. I'm a university professor. As an academic, I do not come to sit with such great people like you without having a clear idea about what I'm talking about. I have a goal I want to achieve. And I have steps. I have an introduction. Then I have the body, then the conclusion. This would be. So, our topic is empowering, tamkeen, faith in our kids. Which means I will be revolving for the coming 45 minutes about how to fix, how to plant the seeds and to raise, faith inside our kids. So this is the aim of our gathering for the coming 45 minutes, inshallah. Okay? So, as an academic, I have some introductions. Because now, I can't do it easily by saying, okay, simply do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, Jazakumullah khair, salam alaikum, bye-bye, make dua for me, and that's it. No. This is not not a piece of cake. We might be discussing now one of the most important topics in your life. Because empowering, fixing, planting the seeds of faith inside of your heart and the heart of your kids. Do you know what does it mean? Practically, what does it mean? It means being saved in the day of judgment. Which is the most ultimate wanted thing for all of us. Because Allah clearly says, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, ni'mat al-Quran, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نارا وقودها الناس أعوذ بالله والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. Allah is commanding us قُوا أنفسكم, protect yourself and your families, your wives, your husbands, your daughters, your sons. It's a commandment. قُوا, protect them from a hellfire. The fuel of this hellfire is the people and the stones. Wow. Well, that's a very scary thing. It's not a joke. So when we know the right faith, why, when, how to fix it, it means, inshallah, this is the way, the path, how to be protected from this, what is it? Destination. And to go to the other destination, which is the Jannah, inshallah, bidnillah. So what we are discussing, we are not discussing how to be expert in IT. No. I'm not discussing how to know, for example, how to speak with the people, how to influence the people. We will be discussing the way how to be protected from the hellfire and to guarantee the Jannah, inshallah. So in terms of the priorities, it is the top priority that should be for us. So this is the title and the importance of the topic. Let's go through the first question now. Now, I ask my question when I prepare a lecture for like your respected self, Jazakumullahu khairan. And don't forget me and my father who passed away 5 years ago in your dua, and my mother as well, Jazakumullahu khairan. Now, I asked why faith? Because the topic is empowering faith. Someone in the 21st century might ask, okay Sheikh, please don't waste my time. Why should I aslam bother to fix the faith or to empower the faith? Why? So what is the importance of faith? We need to know that. Because you know why I'm raising this question? Because I think you agree with me that we are living in a very, very influential, materialistic, secular world, East and West. Wherever you go, to the social media, to the media, to movies, go to Hollywood, go to Netflix, go to the social media, more than 80-90% of the media, they are just pushing towards maximizing just the part of your body, your desires, your food, your clothing, how to enjoy, how to have pleasure. So more or less, East and West, the majority of people who have the power, they are pushing humanity towards being disconnected from their spirit and the faith. So I think we Muslims are the only hope for humanity. We need to know that. It's good while we are discussing that we are not just discussing a simple topic. It's not just for you. It's not just for your families. Actually, it's for humanity. It's good to know. People, okay, I'll make a simple, quick pause. Are we all aware that Islam is not the property of Arabs or Pakistanis or Somalis? Islam is the property of every single human being on earth. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He did not tell him, "Oh Muhammad, go to Arabs. Ya ayyuhan nasu, inni Rasulullahi ilaykum jami'a. Ya ayyuhan nasu, O mankind." He was commanded. It's the Quran, it's not my words. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya ayyuhan nas, I am the messenger of your Lord for all of you. In another ayah, قال كافة للناس بشيرا ونذيرا. I was sent to all the mankind. This is from one angle. From another angle, you were born Muslim, so you've been gifted with the system of human being without any kind of effort from you. So Allah just favored you. Imagine, by the way, you need to know that we are the chosen people. You know what this means? Allah has decided to choose you, me, to hold His final revelation for humanity. So it's a big honor from one angle, big honor. But it's a burden as well. It's not a peanut. It's not a piece of cake. If you want to go to one of the biggest universities, you work very hard. So what about being representative of the Lord of the universe? If you want just, I saw one of my relatives back in Jordan. I'm from Jordan. One of my relatives, he told me that he's planning to enroll in Harvard. I have no idea about the system of enroll in Harvard. I discovered that some people, they prepare themselves 2, 3, 4 years in advance to be enrolled, because they have to achieve some social work and to do projects to be entitled to compete to go to Harvard University. And at the end, okay, it's a university. Okay, Harvard graduate. على راسنا يا سيدي على فوقي. Okay, at the end, it's a piece of paper. If you took it from Harvard or Toronto or Jordan University, you are a graduate, you will work. Maybe the graduate of Toronto or Jordan University might take, okay, money more or less. This is not my point. Once the angel of death comes to me, he will not ask me what scholarship I received and from who. Was it Oxford? Okay, Oxford, تفضل to the Jannah. Harvard, definitely in the Firdaus. Toronto, yes, mashallah. But you know, other universities, no. Do you think so? Do you think it will happen? Do you think? No. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. And the test basically that we need when we meet the angel of death has nothing to do with Harvard or Oxford or Cambridge or Toronto or McGill. من ربك؟ ما دينك؟ ما تقول في هذا الرجل الذي بعث فيكم? Prophet Muhammad said it clearly. When you meet the angel of death, the questions will be, who is your Lord? You will not be asked, who is your celebrity? You will not be asked about your girlfriend and which one is much more beautiful than the other. You will not be asked about the best Arabic food or falafel or hummus in Vancouver. Wallahi, I'm not joking. You will not be asked. You will be asked, Man Rabbuk? What was your Lord? Your desire? Yourself? Your party? Your king? Your tribe? Or the Lord of the universe? Simple. Man Rabbuk? Practically. If I have an answer, now what we are doing, actually we are preparing ourselves for this test. Still, I'm talking about the importance of faith now. It's not a simple issue. So I asked the question, why? Let me give you a simple two answers. We can expand them, okay, much more. I decided to put two basic answers. Why faith is important. In my understanding, as a specialist in Islamic faith and comparative religions, if you want to take it from human, mathematical, practical, okay, materialistic point of view, not religious, if you want to take it from why faith is important, I can argue and I can challenge that faith, when you have faith in something, is the most powerful motivation power to do anything in your life. It is power. It is. When you have faith in something, it means you are powerful in this something. If you believe in something. I'm talking about faith in general now. Because when I say faith or aqeedah or i'tiqad, let's go to the Arabic roots. When I have faith, it means I'm convinced in something. I'm talking about the benefits now. Why faith is important. If you have faith in something, it means you are certain from thing. You are ready to fight for this thing. If you have faith in your father that he's honest and he's genuine and he loves you, you will fight to protect your father. If you have faith in your company that they are good, genuine, they are not cheating, you will fight for them. You will defend them. You are ready to do everything. If you don't, this is the general meaning of faith. Faith in anything, okay, will give you power. And we all need power. Actually, for the word power, people are killing themselves. So this is from materialistic human point of view. But from religious point of view, look how simple it is. Why do we need faith? Simply because you need to go to the Jannah. Whether you liked it or not, the one who owns the Jannah, do you know who owns the Jannah? Who owns the Jannah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Said it clearly. If you do not believe in Him, in His terms, you are not having the passport, the key of the Jannah. Very simple, clear cut. If you are a believer, okay? Now I finished the first 5. I'm answering the question of why faith is important. Why faith is important from religious point of view? Simply It's your key to Jannah. طيب, okay. What does Jannah mean? Jannah means eternal happiness, eternal tranquility, eternal contentment. رضا, سعادة, هدوء, راحة, طمأنينة, أبدية. Actually, just simply, the importance of our topic, why faith is important, why I'm telling you this, it's my job to tell you how to empower faith in your youth and your kids. طيب, when somebody, Daddy, please, Wallah, I respect you. I know you came from an Arabic country, you are struggling here, you are a Syrian, you are Iraqi, you are Palestinian, Jordanian, whatever, okay? I respect you, but, you know, Daddy, I was born here. I have a Canadian mentality. So I would love to think it in another way. It's your duty to tell this kid, excuse me, Habibi, the fact that you were born here does not mean you don't need Allah. The fact that you are living in a first world, materialistically speaking, does not mean that you have guaranteed your future. Be careful. Know your place. Be careful. You need to talk with your kids, because, you know, public schools generally, people on the street in general, they are empowering them with arrogance. They are empowering them with the, you know, it's me, I want, I feel, I think, I don't, you know, the ego. Wallah, wherever I go, the people that are complaining, they say, our kids, they come, especially, generally speaking, when they go to the public school, the ego of I is much more, you know, higher than the status of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why easily they reject the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very dangerous faith point of view. So, the question of why faith is important, simply it's your key to the Jannah. Right. Let's go to next step now. What is the dalil for that? Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. When you go to the Quran, just to save your time, we have, if not hundreds, tens of verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly says in many ayat, وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمَ الْكَافِرُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ, you know, tens of verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about anyone who does not accept Allah and believe in Allah in His way, in His terms, he will leave this dunya as a non-believer. The Arabic Islamic terminology for the non-believer is a kafir, a rejecter, the one who rejected. Okay? Now, how there is a possibility that I reject something? Many reasons. I don't know, ignorance. I was raised to replace God with another God, or to do shirk. What is the meaning of shirk? Now, when you bring something with something else in Arabic, it's called ishrak. Okay? Which means you are bringing something, you are combining two things. In Arabic, it's called tashriq or ishrak. So when we say you are committing shirk with Allah in Arabic, you are bringing something else and put it next to Allah, and you give them an equal status in your attitudes. And this is an act of kufr as well. Type, how does this happen? Look, one of the verses. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you not seen the one who took his desire as his God? God? Yes. By the way, have you witnessed anyone worshipping his hawa? Because Allah says, have you not seen the one who took his desire as God? How do I make my desire God? How? Look, we know this by understanding the concept of ibadah. Now, many of us, when we hear the word abada, ya'bud, abid, ibadah, we think ibadah means the rituals, which means prayer 5 times, Sawm, Umrah, Hajj. We think this is mashallah ibadah, he's a good abid. This is a big mistake. This is less than 5% of the meaning of the ibadah. Because the Arabic root for the word ibadah, which is abadah, the literal meaning in the lexicons, in the dictionaries, means al-inqiyad wal-khudu'u tammu duna adna shart. So when we say abid, means the one who has submitted him or herself to something without any kind of preconditions. If you are submissive to any one group, thing, idea, you are a worshipper linguistically. So the dalil for that, Prophet Muhammad said, "Ta'isa abdud dinar, ta'isa abdud dirham, ta'isa abdul khamisa." He said, "Woe unto thee, he is the loser." Ta'is, woe unto him, woe unto her, the one who worships the dinar, the one who worships the money. Have you ever witnessed anyone puts a coin from the Canadian dollar and he did sujood for it? Have you witnessed this? No. But how someone might be abid for a money? Do we do sujood? No. What's the meaning of the ibadah? Full obedience and submission for the thing. I want money. Money says, "Mister, if you want me, you can have me through many channels." The one who created me and created the money told me you have legal ways, illegal ways, haram ways. Alcohol, haram. Drugs, haram. Gangs, haram. Cheating, haram. Stealing, haram. Killing, haram. These are not permissible, haram. So I want to do them. Money is there, so I went to the money through the concept of ibadah, which means I went to the money by submitting myself to the condition of having the money without any restrictions. Haram, halal, permissible, yajuz, la yajuz, who cares? By doing so, I'm a abid for money. I am a worshipper of money. That's why amazingly Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Ta'isa abdul dinar, ta'isa abdul dirham." It's a money, like a coin, a dollar, or whatever. Now the amazing thing, ta'isa abdul khamisa. From the Arabs, who knows? By the way, I forgot to ask, how many of you understand Arabic? Just can raise up your hand, please. Type. Who knows what's the meaning of khamisa? From the brothers. Khamisa. Who knows what's the khamisa? The Arabs. Type sisters. Wow, no one. Yes. خبز. Food? Food. A type of food. No. You know what's the khamisa? It's a type of clothing, like saying for example, a jacket, a thawb. Just simple. Ta'isa abdul khamisa. What does this mean? Have you ever seen someone worshipping a jacket or a thawb? Have you witnessed? Do you know what does it mean, our words now? Ta'isa abdul moda. Ta'isa abdul fashion. Sheikh, is there someone who worships fashions? Naam ya khoya. Do we have worshippers for fashions? Do we or not? Wallahi, billahi, tallahi we have. If the fashion says, do kuku, you know kuku? He will make kuku. Marines. Sisters, shave الحواجب, shave. Tattoo. دخن حاجب, دخن. قصر حاجب, قصر. Botox. Lips, cheeks, silicone, poisoning inside. They inject their cheeks and lips with the poisoning silicone. وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَيُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ. Iblis has promised with all kind of arrogance, my Lord, I will command them and they will change the khalq, the creation of Allah. Do we do this right now? Plastic surgeries just for beauty. You know, I don't like my nose. I want my nose to be like, for example, like Tom Cruise. Yes, okay, make it. Oh no, not like this. They do 10 operations surgical. They pay thousands of dollars to make it small or big or مفلطح or مدور or مطبق, whatever. طبعا it's amazing. Fashion, الموضة بتقول لك short skirt, tight. Do we live in this or not? 1400 years ago, Prophet Muhammad said, تعس عبد الخميصة. Woe unto thee. He is the loser, the one who's worshipping the fashion. We are believers and we are Muslims. Now we need to know. We submit to the one who decided to us what is permissible and not permissible, what is right and what is wrong. So, by the way, I'm discussing the importance of faith and why it's important and how dangerous it is. Because when you see, I'm discussing now the concept of ibadah. When you do the ibadah, now the other coin of our true ibadah should be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we don't do it to Allah, actually we are abid by default. By the way, let me put it in a simple way. We've been created by Allah by default. We can't live but being a worshipper. But it's your decision to redirect the direction of your worshipping. Is it for yourself or for the people or for anything else of the objects or for the creator? It's your decision. Because if you lift yourself, you will be abid for something. Most likely, desire. That's why desire. See what I think, and it was part of the diseases of Iblis. لعنه الله. وقال Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him. Iblis realized, he knew that Allah is the creator. He knows, he was talking with him. Anyway, by this we highlighted now in the introduction about the why and the importance. Now our topic is what? How to make a good, nice mansaf. True? Is this our topic? In case someone has slept. Okay? Is it mansaf or makhluba or kinafa or falafel? No. Empowering faith in our youth and our kids. So we knew now how important faith is from one angle. As long as we are believers, I just paid your attention to the concept of a believer without submission to the thing that you believe in, you are wasting your time. This is next step now. We need to know that. I will come to it now. Now let's jump to the big second phase in our lecture. But by the way, when I finish, we will open the discussion, inshallah, your questions. Now let's talk about the how. How I can empower. How can I fix faith inside my youth and my kids? Number one, live faith practically. Let's highlight the following. Let's leave this whole while having a clear program what I'm supposed to do, not just philosophical, theoretical work. Now faith is important. It's the key to the Jannah. I must give big interest in it, take care of it. Okay, good. Number two, how? Number one of the how is you as a parent, because I'm addressing parents now. You need to live faith practically. Live faith, but faith is just in the heart. Okay. The word faith in our terminology, if Iman is mentioned, it includes Islam by default. This is the first fixing of misconception. Don't accept anyone says الإيمان في القلب وأنا قلبي أبيض. مش كل إشي بالإيش؟ مش كل إشي بالصلاة والصوم والزكاة والحجاب يا شيخ. المهم الإيمان في القلب وأنا قلبي أبيض وما بكذب والله بيعرف. You know this? Do you know this? أنا قلبي أبيض وما بكذب والله بعرف. Okay, be careful. When we say faith, we are not talking in Islamic terminology. I'm not talking now in the language. I'm talking in Islam. When we say faith, by default, we are talking about the practical application of the faith. Or otherwise, the whole of Islam has no value. Okay? So, a believer, mu'min, he should be someone who's applying what he claims that he believes in. Type number one, if you want to empower your kids with faith, let your kids, your youth, your relatives, your people see the practical application of faith in your action. This is number one. It's not just to talk. Number one, to see it. Let me give this very quick advices. In English, I heard once a statement which is very powerful. It says, it reads, children do what they see, not what you say. They are created in this way. I repeat, children do what they see, not what you say. Don't keep your time wasting just talking. Do it. Live it. If you want your kid to respect Allah, you respect Allah first. Respect Allah, but I respect Allah. Be careful. Full package of Islam. Respecting Allah is not a theoretical claim. It's a practical application. Simply, if I'm talking with the father, if you are not taking care of your wife, if you are not respecting your kids, using your power with an action of volume, the practical application of faith for your kids is zero. So I don't care with your faith, because practically I'm not benefiting from your faith. Vice versa. If all the time, have you prayed? Yes. Now I'm talking about sisters, for example, just a scenario, okay? Have you prayed? Yes. Diri balik, al-hijab. Don't let this hair comes from here. Be careful about your ma'sam, something. Okay. But when she holds the telephone, with her neighbors, talking about the third neighbor from each other, بتشل أملها. You know بتشل أملها? Untranslatable. You know بتشل أملها؟ يعدي من إياها. واللي بتسوي وعلى إيش شايفة حالها؟ على طويلها، على شقارها، ولا على بياض ميل تميلها، الكذا والكذا. You know, gossip, backbiting, and this kind. Now, practically, your daughter will not have any meaning for simple piece of clothes, and her hair will not appear from her if you keep doing this for her. Wear the hijab. Be careful while when you speak a phone, you commit 10,000 times sins more than not wearing the hijab. Be careful. I'm sorry, forgive me, but I have to be frank. We need to give right values for the things. Ghiba wa namima is 10 times, okay, dangerous than a hair that might come out of the hijab. 10 times or 100 times. Okay, hijab is a basic, but she needs to see the full respect, for example. So live Islam practically at the very beginning. Okay, this is vice number 1. I remembered when I was preparing Al-Imam al-Bukhari. Have you heard about Imam Bukhari? Kids, please, anyone who's under 15, just this question for anyone who's under 15. How many kids do we have under 15 here? Can you raise up your hands? MashaAllah. طيب, MashaAllah, about 15, 10. طيب, who knows Al-Imam al-Bukhari? Can you tell me who's Imam Bukhari? Can you speak loudly? Sahabi? طيب, I will not comment, I will hear, then I will comment. Jazakallah khair, thank you. Who's Imam Bukhari? Yes. What the one who gathered what the Prophet Muhammad said. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. That's true, yes. He's not a Sahabi, brother. He came after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with tens of years. But now, Imam Bukhari, he was the one who collected, be careful. When we say composed, some people, they think he composed these hadith. He just collected what Prophet Muhammad said. And the Sahaba narrated and the Tabi'een narrated, okay? He just collected the highest level of authentic prophetic, sayings and actions and reactions, called Sahih al-Bukhari. May Allah be pleased with him. Radiallahu anhu wa rahimahullah. Imam Bukhari, he is one of the greatest ulama in our history. There is a statement that is attributed to him. He says, قابلت ألفا من الشيوخ كلهم على أن الإيمان قول وعمل. Be careful, this is very important. Imam Bukhari, one of the greatest ulama in our history, he said, I've met 1,000 shaykh. Now the terminology shaykh in his time means one of the greatest of the scholars, not like our time. Now for example, in our time the word shaykh might be used for anyone with a beard, might be used with anyone who prays as an imam in any masjid. In Jordan, when I was young, 40 years ago, shaykh will be used for anyone in the age of 15 with some hair in his face. He is shaykh, huh? Shaykh. So no. In the terminology of Imam Bukhari, he said, I've met 1,000 shaykh. In his terminology, I have met one of the great scholars of the students of the Sahaba. Okay? All of them, they were on the belief that Al-Iman, qawlun wa amal. Faith means you claim something and you do something. If you do not do what you claim, no faith. So one of the greatest important things that we need to leave this hall with, faith is not a theory, it's not a feeling, it's not a heart just conviction, it's a practical application. Which means, let's conclude this first point, because I'm answering now the how. Number one with the how is, live it practically. If you want to empower them with faith, so live it practically. Okay, number two. Now empower them with needed knowledge. I'm giving you steps if you want to empower with faith. Number one, live. Number one includes by default, if you don't know what to do, you have to seek knowledge, because as we say in Arabic, فَقْدُ الشَّيْءِ, the one who does not have something cannot give it to others by default. If you can't speak French, can you teach French? It's impossible. Impossible. If you don't know how to drive a car, can you teach someone how to drive a car? It's impossible. So I can't guide my kids, I can't tell them, I can't apply if I myself don't know. If I know, apply. If you are ignorant, which is, most of us, we are ignorant. All of us actually in some aspects of our religion. So we have to keep seeking the knowledge. So number one. Number two now, empower them with the needed knowledge. Let them know, let them enjoy, let them feel proud. How? I'm giving you number two now. Empower them with the needed knowledge. They need to know. When you don't know, simply you have nothing to care about. When you know, you will start having concerns. Okay, whose problem if they know they don't? From the age of 0 up to the age that they start feeling proud of themselves and they don't care with you. Whose problem to empower them with knowledge? Who is responsible in this? Parents. It's your decision in which school you put them if you can afford. You can't afford Islamic school, you don't have Islamic schools, okay. What are you doing in the weekend? If you can't in the weekend, are you doing your best really to provide them with the true knowledge? Don't say now, in the 21st century, especially after the corona, that I'm not able to provide knowledge for them, because now knowledge became affordable, accessible on every point on planet Earth. One of the good results of the pandemic of coronavirus, that nearly most of the people on earth, they became aware and having good knowledge how to use technology on the social media, such as the Zoom. Now a man of 70 or 80 years is able now to open the Zoom and to have a conference and to have a course easily. So no excuse for anyone. We have tens and hundreds of courses about all fields of knowledge. Okay, how can I know? Put some efforts, consult. If someone of us would love to have just a good house, by Allah, you tell me, what kind of efforts you put to buy a nice house? Do you buy any house in the street? Sometimes you spend months and years searching for a house. Months and years searching. Every tiny details in the house. Your clothes. Do you wear anything? No. Sometimes we search 5 big stores, 10 stores to find the best jacket, the best shoes, the best pants, the best. It takes time and money, subhanallah. If I do these efforts, go and search. You read, you educate, let them know. But what does it mean to know? For example, now tell them stories about, for example, the great Sahaba. Most of our kids, they know who? They know Batman, Superman. True or false? They know Disneyland. They know Tom and Jerry. They know Ronaldo and Messi. They know the basketball teams. They know Korean, music and dancing bands. They know them. But many of them, they don't know the Sahaba. So this, will be filled with something. If you do not fill it with good things, it will be filled with bad things. Do you read a story about a Sahaba as an example? I'm giving you just simple scenarios. Our point is how to empower faith. I'm giving you the practical steps. Now, it's not just a theory. If you want them to love faith, to do the practical, let them see it in you. Then give them more knowledge. Let them know about those who were the best people in this faith, such as the Sahaba and great scholars. Can you imagine what does it mean if your kid is listening to one story of a Sahabi every night, which is bed stories? For example, simple scenario. You speak about one Sahabi before he goes to bed. And this Sahabi, maybe it takes you for a full week just to give a simple piece of information about him. For example, Umar al-Khattab, before you go, Umar al-Khattab, for example, he said such and such, he did so and so. Wow, really Dad? He was a great man. Imagine the following part of simple story of Umar al-Khattab. For a kid who's searching, there is no knowledge about a role model in his life. His role model is a dancer, actor, actress, football player, soccer player, basketball player, whatever. But there is no role model. Imagine him listening to the following part of the story of Umar al-Khattab. Just imagine, for his first time, 10 years, 5 years, Umar al-Khattab, for example, as a simple story, Umar al-Khattab was from the big enemies of Islam and Muslims at the very beginning. And for those who do not know Umar al-Khattab, he was very tall, very white, huge person. People at the time of the Jahiliyyah ignorance, they used to fear him from long distance. No one used to make any trouble with him, because he was, and by the way, Brother Tahir, Umar al-Khattab, he was a professional wrestler at the Jahiliyyah. Literally, I'm not joking. He used to be very famous in wrestling in Suq Uqad. At the time of the Jahiliyyah, when he was 15, hardly anyone from the Arabs was able to wrestle down to put down Umar al-Khattab in the Jahiliyyah. He was a great person. Everyone feels from him in the Jahiliyyah. So when Prophet Muhammad started, for example, doing the da'wah, he was from the mushrikeen and the kuffar who used to torture the Muslims. He used to, to do very hard. So look, for example, when he embraced Islam, the first thing he said, look, he's with Prophet Muhammad. For 3 years he was an enemy for Islam. At the 3rd year, he decided to accept Islam. My point will come now. On spots, he came to Prophet Muhammad at Dar Abil Arqam, which was a secret gathering place. He came to embrace Islam. When he declared his Islam, immediately, on the spot, he said, Ya Rasulullah, awalasna ala al-haq? Awalasna. He is a Muslim just few minutes ago. He said, my dear Prophet, are we not on the truth and true path? أولسنا على الحق? Prophet Muhammad said, yes, بلى. قال أوليسوا على الباطل? Those people outside there, لسه جاي من عندهم هو. He has just come from the kufr. He himself was a kafir just a few minutes ago. Once he embraced Islam, he said, we and they. Immediately he detached his identity. What he said, Ya Rasulullah, are we not on the truth? Yes. Are they not on the batil, the falsehood? Yes. Ya Umar al-Khattab, قال فلما نعطي الدنية في ديننا. He said, why we look down in our religion? Why not to go outside and to declare the Islam? He insisted, and immediately, it was the first time Muslims, after 3 years of doing Islam just in secret gatherings, they came out in the streets of Mecca. Mecca at that time, it's like Washington DC now. You need to know this. Mecca in the Arabic Peninsula, it's like now, يعني من غير تشبيه, like a Russian challenging Americans in Washington DC now. Are you with me? It's what? Yes, the most powerful capital in the Arabic Peninsula. With all the mushrikeen, the power, everything, they came out. This was because of Umar ibn Khattab. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ called him Al-Faruq. Al-Faruq means قال يفرق الله به بين الحق والباطل. By him, Allah will split, will divide haqq, truth, from the batil, falsehood, once he is there. Very powerful in the heart. Now, I was touched when I know, then I will finish this part of the story. My point is not Umar al-Khattab. I'm giving you an example. Look, such information, just information. If this information were conveyed to your kid as part of your plan to empower him with the knowledge about those who implemented faith that he is supposed to follow. What does it mean? If you are planning in this way, you have a schedule. Do you know Umar al-Khattab what he did? The first action after that, he went immediately, do you know to who? Immediately to the house of Abu Jahl, Jazakallah khairan. By the way, Abu Jahl is his relative, by the way. And Abu Jahl, he was one of the great people as well. The same. Very tall, very huge, very powerful. The charisma, they are similar. That's why Prophet Muhammad was saying, Allahumma a'izz al-Islam bi ahad al-umarain. Oh Allah, give victory and power and support and backing for Islam by one of the two Umars. Amr ibn Hisham, which is Abu Jahl, or Umar ibn Khattab. He was making dua, Prophet, Ya Allah, because he saw in them, these two guys are amazing. Whether they are on moon or on Mars, with kuffar or the mu'mineen, they are very powerful people. They do what others can't do. He was making dua, Ya Allah, give backing and support for Islam with one of those two. Subhanallah, Abu Jahl decided to be Fir'aun هذه الأمة. Umar al-Khattab decided to be Faruq هذه الأمة. Subhanallah. My point, look to this. He went to the house of Abu Jahl. Open the door. Yes? How are you, Umar? Have you not known what happened? He said, what? قال إني أسلمت قال تبا لك سائر اليوم. He said, have you not known? He said, what? He said, I became a Muslim. He said something, very horrible, like, wow, unto thee. He closed the door. I'm telling you, I became a Muslim. He's challenging him. Because Abu Jahl used to torture Muslims. He's using his power now to put down the power of the shirk and the jahiliyyah. Because he used to use his power against. He went to the top, to the head, to the boss, to the pharaoh of Quraysh, Abu Jahl. He was challenging him. He wanted to break his arrogance. You say, I became a Muslim. Okay, let me see, Mr. Abu Jahl, what can you do with me? Do you dare, Aslan? Abu Jahl, like a small chicken, just closed the door. What is this? I gave you an example of how I'm supposed to portray the image of one Sahabi out of hundreds and thousands. My point is, convey knowledge for your kids about practical application of faith. Those people, what motivated Umar? Faith. Why Umar did so and so? Umar, why he was crying? Why he was afraid? Umar Khattab, he was, wallahi, I read in some of the books that when Umar was a caliph, he was a khalifa. He became a khalifa for about 11 years or less, 10 years and a half. It's a long time. Umar, he used to be very powerful. People used to fear him in the Jahiliyyah. When he became a Muslim, much more. When he became a Khalifa, ya habibi, no one dares. Do you know, one of the narrations about Umar Khattab, when he was a Caliph, he was walking in one of the streets of the Medina, mahmoom bishu'un al-Muslimin. He was completely concerned. Sometimes when you are concerned in something and you have a big responsibility, you will be like as if مكشر. شو معناتها بالإنجليزي؟ مكشر. مين يترجم لي بسرعة؟ No, not angry. Frowning. Frown. F-R-A-W-N. Oh, frown. Frowning. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Okay, frowning. So he was doing this kashra. Okay? Because he was completely focusing, concerned in something of the ummah. He's the caliph. So a group of Muslim men, they were walking behind him. Umar, out of a sudden, he remembered something. He turned 180 degrees to the back, just like this. Out of fear, all of them, they went to their knees. نزلوا على ركبهم كلهم. Because they didn't know, we did nothing. Wallahi, Ya Al-Khattab. No one's asking about the thing. They were so afraid, so scared, because he was an amazing person. Khalas, period. I finished. I was giving you an example how to convey the knowledge, to talk about Sahabi. Imagine, but this is about knowledge. Now this takes me, do you remember I told you, empower them with knowledge and let them having to enjoy, they enjoy. So I'm not alone. Yes, those people, I'm supposed to be like them. This is great Sahaba, great Tabi'een, great ulama, great Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Muhammad al-Fatih, Salahuddin. We have great people in our history. Let them from one angle give the knowledge. From one angle connect them to be their role, one of them, some of them. It's up to you according to the personality of your kid, of your youth. Let one of them be his role model. Because you need to replace role models from nowadays with, and by the way, even if a scholar from this time or a great person, but at least don't connect I'm not saying, I can't tell you to force your kid. No, it's wrong. I'm not forcing him. But you are providing him with the truth. The truth by default, Allah created us on the base of loving the truth. This will go in parallel with him. Now, I give another example. How to let them feel proud. For example, imagine when you give him an information, connecting him giving him the power of someone like Khalid bin Walid. Just let him imagine this, picture this. At the time of the beginning of Islam, at that time there were two big empires, Persian Empire and Roman Empire. Roman Empire in our words now, Europe. Persian Empire in our words now, previous United Soviet Union or the Russians. In our words now, that's just to picture how the world was. It was East and West. Europeans, Romans, Persians, like Persians, basically, the Persians like Iran now, but the area, the country, it was covering something like what we know about the previous Soviet Union, which is most of the, countries that were with the Russians. So, can you imagine that someone like Khalid bin Walid, in a battle he was fighting against Romans in many battles, that Heraclius himself, Heracl, when he knew about Khalid bin Walid, that he is coming to meet him, Heraclius with his soldiers, they flee from the place, and Khalid bin Walid, he chased him. Can you imagine this? Khalid bin Walid, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ called him Sayfullah al-Maslul, the sword of Allah. Khalid bin Walid radiyallahu anhu, your kid need to feel proud of this. Khalid bin Walid and other Sahaba, in a few years, because of them, the two Persian Empire was collapsed, and the Romans, they lost a lot of their power. So imagine a role model, feeling proud, taking lessons. And I will finish with this simple example. This topic to move to the final phase and topic in mind, about examples. How many of you have heard about Rib'i bin Amr? Who knows, at least who recognize the name, Rib'i bin Amr? Can you raise up your hand? Rib'i bin Amr. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of, I think you are at least 100. Allahu Alam. Okay. What's the first one? Who raised up his first? Yes, brother. Who's Rib'i? Do you have an idea about who's he? Yes, Jazakallah khair. Look, you need to know this story. I'm giving you an example. This story is just an example how to make a role model. Feel proud. Give knowledge. Connect the heart, the feelings, the imagination of your kid with part of your applied faith. This is my point. Because not just theory, Salli. But why should I pray? You need, to know these things through a practical example. For example, in addition to knowledge, Rib'i bin Amr, he was the representative of the Muslim army sent by Amr ibn al-As at the time of Umar al-Khattab. Look, picture this. Umar al-Khattab, he was the caliph. He sent an army, and the head of the army was one of the Sahaba, which is Amr ibn al-As. Now, Rustum was the chief of the Persian armies, not army, armies. You have more than one army. By the way, at that time, Persians, they used to have the mightiest, powerful army on earth at that time. According to the narrations in the history, Muslims, they were 30,000+ soldiers. Persians, according to the historical narrations, they were between 200 and 260,000, which means 7 to 8 times. At that time, no missiles, no laser, no tanks, no bombs, no machine guns. The only weapon that is used was what? Sword, spear, and the arrow, which means the manpower. Manpower 1 to 7 mathematically means, may Allah be with you. May God be with your soul. You are finished. Khalas. 1 to 7. 30,000 with 260,000. So, khalas. So, part of the customs of people on earth at that time, they used to have some kind of negotiation sometimes. The most powerful, sometimes they ask a representative, come, okay, what do you want? Maybe they can convince them to return back. Maybe they can, plant the seeds of fear in their hearts, to be hesitant, to get rid of them easily, whatever. So they negotiate. So Rustum, the chief of the Persian armies, he asked someone from the Muslims whom he used to look down at them, because for him, they were not Muslims, they were backward Arabs. Came from the desert. This is how he used to think about them. Great Persia, Arabs. This is how they used. So those Arabs come to the great man. But Persians, they used to worship their leaders. Rustum, Rabi' bin Amir looked down how to practice the faith. He was riding his horse. He came to this big, Persians, one of the most well-known and best carpets on earth is the Persian carpets. It's very well known. He came to the big tents where Rustum was there. He came with his horse, and he was riding his horse on part of this big decoration and something, which means he was giving a message, I don't care with your decoration. He was holding his spear, putting the spear, every step he moves with the horse, he was making like a hole inside the something, which means, I don't care with your money, I don't care with your decoration, I don't care with something. Now what I'm concerned in, they asked him to come and speak. He's the representative of Muslims now. Rustum is looking down to him. The first thing, to teach your kid how to have to be proud. Now Rustum was sitting on something in our language like a stage, the throne, okay? So Rustum, he was like, for example, that level, and they put a chair down for Rabi'. Now, psychologically speaking, in negotiations, if I'm speaking with you, so I will just make an example. If I want to negotiate with the brother here now, if I'm speaking with him like this, what do you think something, and he's looking at me like this, he will lose part of his power. And psychologically, it's very dangerous. If you want to negotiate, you must sit face to face. If he's looking at you physically down, you will feel down. Now, Rabi' bin Amir was not a philosopher. He did not go to any university. He refused to sit down. He said, I will sit next to Rustum. They say, no one sits. Okay, I will go back. You asked us to come. Say, okay. They allowed him to sit next to him. Then, the big mufaja'ah, the big surprise came. Rustum asked Rabi', he said, why did you come? قال ما الذي أتى بكم? What brought you here? As if he's saying, hey, look, why you are causing these troubles for us? Even we don't want to waste a time just to get rid of you, to kill you. Okay, why did you come? Rabi' said the following. I will say it in Arabic so that Arabs feel the beauty of the spirit of the words. قال نحن قوم ابتعثنا الله لنخرج العباد من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد ومن جور الأديان إلى عدل الإسلام ومن ضيق الدنيا إلى سعة الدنيا والآخرة. I repeat, نحن قوم ابتعثنا الله لنخرج العباد من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد ومن جور الأديان إلى عدل الإسلام من ضيق الدنيا إلى سعة الدنيا والآخرة. Look, Rabi', who was not a student of Harvard. He did not go to Cambridge and Oxford. He did not go to any university or school, but he attended the school of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is much better than all of the previous universities. This excellent student of Islam, he said, you asked me, why did you come? He said, we are a people whom the Lord of the universe sent them to قال ابتعثنا الله لنخرج العبادة من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد. We are a people whom were sent by God Almighty to take the people from worshipping people like themselves and to let them worship the Lord who created them. قال ومن جور الأديان, from the injustice of religions to the justice of Islam. قال ومن ضيق الدنيا, from the narrowness of this dunya, قال إلى سعة الدنيا والآخرة, to this wide, happy dunya and the akhirah. Because when you know your Lord, you will enjoy the dunya. At the end you will go to the Jannah. Now, this is a simple story of a Sahabi. Imagine if most of the time this is what your kid is listening to. You apply, you give knowledge, you connect him with a role model, you make him feel proud of their ancestors, their great heroes, great achievement. I give just examples. You can choose from nowadays, from the middle history, from the back history. It's up to you. Can Sahaba, Tabi'een, great scholars, great people, great achievement. We have thousands. We are, alhamdulillah, ummah which is full of achievement. Now, next step, very quickly. We say remove, cleanse away doubts and misleading concepts. How to empower faith? Knowledge, apply, be practical example, go and search, bring, help him in reading, ask some ulama and dua how to cleanse, how to remove doubts from his faces. Because wherever you go on the social media now, you have a lot of places attacking Islamic concepts, attacking the history of Islam, attacking the Quran, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So it's part of your duty to empower your kid with the refutation of the doubts. Help him in case if he is exposed, and he is, definitely he is exposed. I give just one example. For example, one of the great doubts that we use in this context, Sheikh, I would say in Arabic because it's very famous in Arabic, then I will translate it. يا شيخ المهم الأخلاق مش مهم الدين. الدين لله والوطن للجميع. Have you heard this? المهم الأخلاق. ما دام عنده أخلاق, I don't care with deen. You see, this is a very misleading, dangerous concept, which means, you know, the important is to be human, to have morals, to have ethics. Religion is not needed. This is one of the biggest, it's an example how your kids might be misled. طبعا, I can answer this in a very tough way academically, but I will make it very simple. This is an example. Yes, well, that's true. I have a friend of mine, he has high ethics, high morals, and he's an atheist. And we find this. So, alhamdulillah, Father, why do we need religion? I can be a good, nice human being without religion. This is a big mistake and a big misleading. I will tell you why. Now, what is so-called ethics or good behaviors, according to human beings, it's very relative. Nisbi. Okay? And it can be changed at any moment because it's a human-made. It's relative. If the maslahah, the interest, the need, the haja, the obstacle, the challenge change, immediately people change. Do you need better example than what the worldwide media did in the Ukraine-Russian crisis about racism against Syrians, Iraqis, Afghanis, and refugees? Now, I will give you an example. Now, European countries, Western world in general, they are the best people who are talking 24/7 for tens of years about human rights. Who more than them speak about human rights? Type. Who more than Europeans and Western media talk more than them speak about human rights? More. Type. About condemning racism. Number one. Tens of years, they are condemning racism, and they are proud of secularism, and they are proud of democracy. In 4 days, CBC, BBC, CNN, Fox News, worldwide, Danish, Holland, Deutsch, Denmark, Ukraine, worldwide media, you witnessed them in 4 days simply They are not with blonde hair and blue eyes. How come? They are Europeans. We should not leave them there. They are not like any other refugees like Syrians and Afghanis and Iraqis, you know. Did we witness this or not? You, all of them. We are living it now. Okay, if ethics, okay, change, خلاص, maslaha is changed. The interest, the problem. Just switch on, off, everything is changed. So, if they are elites. They are elites. People of media, they are the elites. Politicians, head of states, vice presidents, all of them. They are colored people. They are not white people. They are just Syrian. Just Syrians? What do you mean? Yani? Syrians, no problem if they die, and Iraqi and Afghani, but you know, white, blonde, blue hair, I mean, it's a big problem. They are declaring this. Okay, I don't care what they say. I care just to know how ethics and morals are simply relative. In the world claims for tens of years that human rights is number one. They prove that it's not number one. While in Islam, ethics are based on faith. When I do not become a racist because it's haram, not because it's my interest, political interest now, because Allah made it haram. إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم ألا لا فضل لعربي على أعجمي ولا لأعجمي على عربي ولا لأبيض على أسود ولا لأسود على أبيض إلا بالتقوى. It's a clear cut law. There is no favoring for a black upon a white, or a white upon a black, or an Arab for a non-Arab, or a non-Arab upon Arab, except by piety. If you are closer to Allah, you will have more status. Otherwise, your color, your skin, your financial status, your tribe, your place of birth, your whatever, your name, your appearance, your sex, you are male or female, no. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. We can't change it. We can't play games with it. And if you did, you are condemned. And Allah will punish you, and you are a sinful person. In human ethics, everything can be changed. It will become a law. By law, you are not allowed to discuss this. خلاص, shut up your mouth and let's go to the next step. That's it. By law, you are not allowed. But who decide? We decide. Who? Those who have the power in the X country. And that's it. Who controls? If we have a true, my point is, I'm giving you an example how to remove doubts from their minds. When they tell you we don't need religion, we can live with ethics, morals, and humanity. I'm proving to you that there is nothing such as morals, ethics, humanity. It's a relative. If you have a power, you will impose your version of humanity. For example, Americans, because they had the power, they bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And that's it. Who can stop them? Where's ethics now? Right. Americans, they are the best people who speak about human rights. Nice. What about Guantanamo? Who dare to change this reality? They have the power. That's why it's a big difference between humans and the divine revelation. When in Guantanamo, people, they were tortured less than animals. Just a few kilometers. If you are an American citizen, you will be respected, and the American army will go and bomb a country just to save you. If you are in Guantanamo, even you are not even a human being. Type, okay, please, okay, خلاص, they decided to do so because not American territories. But you are talking about human rights. You did not say American rights. You say human, which means it's just a claim. That's it. In Islam, depending on faith, it's not a claim. Haram, haram. Because Allah decided that racism is haram. That's it. Time, ups, downs, 2,000 years back in the history, 10,000 in the future, no one can change it. Racism is haram. Arrogance is haram. Disrespecting elderly is haram. Has nothing to do with you are a Westerner or Easterner, whether you are a black or white, whether you have a blonde hair or a black hair, it doesn't matter. That's why I'm giving you an example. What is the need of your kids for doubts to be removed from their faces before they absorb the doubts and they became their identity. Because if you left them, they will not be able to enjoy faith. Okay? Now very quickly, 3 points without details, then I will stop, inshallah, I finish. Connect, if you want to empower faith, connect your kid with the masjid, please. Please. Masjid should be, we have the triangle. Home, Islamic school, masjid. Home, it's a must, basic. If you can't have Islamic school, alhamdulillah. Not Islamic school, weekend school. If you can't have this or that, at least homeschooling, group homeschooling. Do something with families similar like you. Give your kid the similar environment, which is part of your faith is applied. Number 3 now, the masjid. Let your kid be connected with the masjid, with the prayer, with the Jum'ah, with the activities. Do something. If no one is doing something, you do. Let the initiative come from you. And before the last, if he is so young, do your best to choose the best friends for him. Which means, mind your own friends. Because sometimes, maybe part of your friends are not a good people, but you love them because they have a sense of humor, they are nice, they are cool. But they are not a good parents and their kids are suffering from them. You have to change you yourself, because we started from the very beginning. بلش بحالك, okay? You change your friends, because their families might be close to your kids. Go and you and your wife try to search for the best families to be your families. And the last one, if you want really to empower your kids with faith, I'll give you a surprise, but I was supposed to start with it. Do you know what is it? Show love to them. Let them feel your love. If you do not love them practically, okay, they will not take anything of your faith or your tradition or your heritage. Give you this hadith and I will finish, inshallah, and I will listen to your questions if you have a time. Prophet Muhammad was once sitting with one of the Sahaba. This Sahabi's name is Al-Aqra' bin Habis. Aqra' bin Habis, he was from the Sahaba, from the Al-A'rab. A'rab means the Bedouins used to live in the deserts. You know, Al-A'rab, they used to have some characteristics unlike the people of the city of the Medina. They were a little bit more tough, okay, more harsh. The nature where they live, it's very difficult. So Al-Aqra' was sitting with Prophet Muhammad. Please try to focus on this. His grandson Al-Hasan al-Hussein was crawling, playing, came to him. In a very natural reaction, Prophet Muhammad, as a beloved grandfather, okay, he just held his grandson in his lap, he hugged him and he kissed him, like normal reaction. The Bedouin Sahabi, the Al-Arabi, he said, أَتُقَبِّلُونَ صِبْيَانَكُمْ فَإِنَّ لَا نُقَبِّلُهُم. And in another narration or hadith, he said, أَتُقَبِّلُونَ صِبْيَانَكُمْ وَاللَّهِ إِنَّ لِي عَشْرَةً مِنَ الْوَلَدِ مَا قَبَّلْتُ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا قَطْ. This Sahabi, he said, do you kiss your kids? We do not. You know, part of his culture in the desert, that this is like something, you know, unacceptable, like shame on you. You kiss your kid? No. Let him be a man, be very tough and harsh with him. This is the mentality in the desert. So he was as if he's rejecting, how come Prophet Muhammad showing sympathy as a man for the kid. In another hadith, قال أتقبلون صبيان والله لي عشرة من الولد ما قبلت. I have, by Allah, I have 10 kids. Okay? By the way, the word walad in Arabic is applicable on both males and females. When we say عشرة من الولد, does not mean 10 boys. It means 10 kids, males and females. Okay? In Arabic language. قال by Allah, I have 10 kids. I have never ever kissed any one of them. Do you know what Prophet Muhammad replied to him in the both hadith? He said, قال أو أملك لك أن نزع الله الرحمة من قلبك. What can I do for you if God has taken mercy out of your heart? In another hadith, he said, من لا يرحم لا يرحم. The one who does not show mercy, he will not see mercy of Allah. Just not hugging and not kissing is a sign of being non-merciful, and you will not have mercy from Allah. What if I'm so tough, so harsh, no quality time, no discussion, no sympathy, no empathy, no sitting, no asking, simply just screaming, shouting, I don't care, I don't. What will be the result? Be careful. The physics teacher or the math teacher who's so kind to him and happened to be an atheist will let your kid be an atheist. Are you with me? If the math, as an example, or the physics is so kind, so understanding, so easy, listens to your kid, respects him, he shows respect, it happened to be, coincidentally, an atheist, your kid will be, even if the math teacher did not tell him any single word about atheism, he will be an atheist. Let's go back to the first statement. Children, do what they see, not what you say. So what was our topic? Empowering faith in our youth and our kids. I hope, inshallah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah has enabled me to do some of the good thing in this topic. Jazakumullah khair. Now the organizer, how many minutes do we have for questions and answers?
15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Wallah, I did not notice the time. We were supposed to finish with the Q&A session at 9:30, by the way. Jazakumullah khair. Sorry for that. So if we are late, we can cancel Q&A session. We can have 2 questions, for example.
Okay, if anyone has questions, please raise your hand. We'll take one from the brother's side, one from the sister's side for now.
Yeah, please.
Anyone?
طب تعطيني الاسم بليز يا الله يجزيك الخير. احكي بالعربي انا بترجم ان شاء الله. I will translate. He will speak in Arabic, I will translate.
تفضل شيخ الأطفال يشوفوا أفضل مما يسمعوا.
لا يعني هم عفوا معنى العبارة children do what they see. الأطفال يفعلون ما يرون لا ما تقول لهم.
ما يرون يعني أفعال الوالدين وفي عندك شغلات التي في وكذا كمان.
طبعا 100% طبعا. لما طول حياتهم قاعدين على النتفليكس عم بيطلعوا على العلاقات اليمين واليسار والضارب فوق وتحت و24 ساعة وبروموتينج وانكاريجينج وكذا شو ايش بده يطلع يعني؟ تمام؟ خلص. طيب جزاكم الله.
Anyone from the sisters? One last question. If anyone has questions?
محدش رح يسمع اصلا بلش يتحرك الناس.
Okay.
طيب جزاكم الله خيرا. Thank you very much. Make dua for me. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا. الله يكرمك.
Inshallah tomorrow same time.